Jack had traveled across many planets trying all kinds of foods, but today, he wanted something special, something rare, something that would tell stories when he returned home. He walked through the busy streets of Zorlan 7, a city full of neon, lights, floating vehicles, and aliens of all shapes and sizes. Some had 6 arms, some had glowing skin, others floated slightly above the ground. Jack had never felt so small, yet so excited. He had heard about a secret restaurant here, a place where only the bravest dared to eat, a place where humans were rare and treated as curiosities, not customers. He finally found the entrance, hidden in a narrow alley. A sign flickered above the door. It read, "The Crimson Platter, tonight's special awaits." Jack's heart beat faster. He pushed the door open. Inside, the restaurant was dimly lit. Shadows danced along the walls. Strange music filled the air, a mix of electronic sounds and alien humming that made Jack feel uneasy yet curious. The tables were carved from black stone. Some floated above the floor, slightly, and the chairs seemed alive, adjusting themselves to the sitter's shape. Jack noticed the waiters. They were not like anything he had seen. Their skin was translucent, showing glowing veins. Their eyes were large and black, reflecting the faint light. They moved silently, gliding across the floor rather than walking. Jack shivered but tried to act calm. He seated himself at a table. That seemed to call him. A waiter approached, holding a menu that looked like a glowing tablet. The menu changed every few seconds, showing exotic dishes, some with names he could not pronounce, some that showed moving pictures of creatures he had never imagined. Jack's hand trembled as he scrolled through, and then he saw it. Fresh, special, limited tonight. There was no picture, only a small warning in red letters. For the brave only. Jack felt a thrill and a shiver at the same time. He wondered what it meant, but his curiosity won over. He decided to order it. "I'll have the fresh special," he said, his voice a little shaky. The waiter tilted his head, a slow smile spreading across his face. Jack did not know if it was friendly or dangerous. While he waited, Jack looked around the restaurant. He noticed other diners, mostly aliens, some whispering in strange tongues, some watching him closely, some avoiding eye contact. Jack felt as if hundreds of invisible eyes were on him. He realized he was not just a customer. He was part of a show. He tried to stay calm, but his stomach tightened. He felt tension building. In the corner of the room, a shadow moved quickly, disappearing behind a pillar. Jack's mind raced. Was it an animal, a creature, or another human? He could not tell. The lights flickered for a moment, and in that flicker he thought he saw something small, moving under one of the tables. Then he heard whispers, soft voices, speaking words he could not understand. But the tone made him uneasy. The voices seemed to be coming from everywhere and nowhere at the same time. Jack swallowed hard, trying to steady himself. His hand touched the table, which felt cold and slightly damp. He shivered, and then the sound of a door opening made him look up. The chef entered, not like any chef Jack had ever seen. He was tall, thin, almost skeletal, with pale skin that shimmered faintly and eyes that glowed like fire. He carried a covered tray, and Jack could feel the weight of his gaze. The room seemed to quiet down. Even the whispers stopped. All eyes were on Jack. Jack's mind raced as the chef approached. He tried to appear calm, but every nerve in his body screamed that something unusual was about to happen. He wondered what the dish could be. Exotic meat, strange alien delicacy, or something even more unusual. The chef stopped in front of him, the tray in his hands making soft humming sounds. Jack's heart pounded. He noticed small movements under the cover. Something alive, perhaps. His curiosity and fear battled inside him. He could not look away. The suspense built as the chef slowly lifted the cover. The restaurant felt colder suddenly. A silence fell, and Jack noticed a faint movement under the cover. Something small, trembling, alive. Jack's eyes widened, his stomach twisted. He realized this was not just food. This was something different, something alive. The whispers returned, louder now, filling the room. Jack's mind raced. His hands tightened on the table. He had to make a decision. The chef looked at him, eyes burning with anticipation. Jack knew in that moment whatever was under the cover would change his night. And perhaps his life forever. The tension reached its peak. The audience watching would hold their breath, wondering what Jack would see next. Jack took a deep breath, sweat dripping down his forehead. He leaned slightly forward, eyes fixed on the tray. The anticipation, the fear, the curiosity, all mixed together, every muscle in his body tense. And then, slowly, the chef's hands lifted the cover, revealing. Jack's hands trembled as the chef slowly lifted the cover, his heart thumping loudly in his chest. At first he saw something small, shivering, curled up under a thin blanket. He blinked several times, thinking his eyes were playing tricks on him. But no, it was real. A tiny alien girl, not meat, not a dish, but a living, breathing being. Her skin glowed faintly under the restaurant's dim lights, and her eyes, huge and round, were filled with fear. She looked no older than a child on earth, her hands clutching the blanket tightly, trembling. The restaurant went silent. Whispers stopped. The other diners stared, their expressions unreadable, some shocked, some amused. Jack could feel all their eyes on him. He wanted to scream, to call someone, but his voice caught in his throat. The chef's smile widened slowly, as if he knew exactly what Jack was feeling. The tension in the room was so thick Jack could almost touch it. He realized that this was not a mistake or a joke. This was the restaurant's special for tonight. A live alien girl, prepared to be served as food. His stomach twisted. He could feel bile rising. Jack swallowed hard, trying to control his panic. The girl whispered softly, almost inaudibly, "Please, help me." Her voice was tiny, fragile, desperate, and it cut through Jack's fear like a knife. He felt an immediate surge of anger and protectiveness. Jack looked around quickly. The other diners were still watching, some silently cheering, some whispering, in languages he did not understand. The chef leaned closer, his long fingers resting on the tray. "She is the rarest delicacy you can try tonight," he said slowly, voice smooth but cold. "A taste of fear and beauty." Jack's heart raced faster. He realized he had a choice, eat her or try to save her. But saving her here would not be easy. The restaurant was full of dangerous aliens, some armed, some moving strangely fast. He could not risk a wrong move. Jack's mind raced. He had to think fast. The girl's tiny hands reached for him. She seemed to trust him instantly, as if she knew he was her only hope. He noticed a faint glow coming from her body, subtle but real. She had some kind of power, maybe unknown to the chef or the other aliens. Jack realized this could be their chance, but he needed a plan. The chef noticed the movement, his eyes narrowed. "Don't move," he warned, his voice sharp. The atmosphere felt electric. Jack swallowed, trying to calm his shaking hands. He had never faced such danger before yet. Some part of him felt alive, alert, ready. The girl whispered again, "Please don't let them eat me." Jack nodded slightly, giving her a small sign of reassurance even though he had no idea how to get them out safely. His mind worked rapidly, scanning the room. He noticed a small service door in the corner, barely visible behind a large pillar. Maybe it could be their way out. But it was heavily guarded. A small group of aliens patrolled it, their eyes glowing, weapons in hand. Jack felt sweat run down his neck. The restaurant suddenly felt like a trap, the walls closing in. Yet, his courage grew. He could not just sit here and do nothing. Then he noticed something unusual. The girl's glow was becoming slightly stronger, pulsing softly, like a heartbeat he could feel even from across the table. Jack realized she had some kind of alien energy, a potential weapon or a signal. "Maybe it could help them escape," he whispered. "Can you help me?" She nodded quickly, her eyes brightening with hope. Jack's mind formed a risky plan. He would have to distract the aliens, make them believe he was going to comply, and then use the girl's power to create chaos. It was dangerous, almost impossible, but it was their only chance. The chef leaned even closer, his cold eyes piercing into Jack's. "Do you enjoy watching fear, human?" he asked, smiling cruelly. Jack's stomach tightened, but he held his gaze. "I just want the experience," he said slowly, hoping to buy some time. The girl held his hand tightly, small and fragile, but full of trust. Jack felt a surge of determination. He could not fail. He would not fail. The suspense in the restaurant grew. The audience watching this moment would feel Jack's fear, the girl's desperation, and the tension that could explode at any second. Jack's eyes flicked to the other diners again, noticing small devices on some tables, maybe alarms, maybe communication tools for the chef. He needed to act before the plan was discovered. The girl's glow pulsed faster now, sensing his urgency. The whispers in the restaurant returned, louder this time, voices full of warning and excitement. The chef's fingers tapped lightly on the tray, a signal that something would happen soon. Jack's mind raced. Every second mattered. He leaned closer to the girl, whispering, "When I say now, trust me, and do exactly as I say." She nodded, fear and hope mixing in her big eyes. Jack took a deep breath, feeling his heart pound in his chest. The moment was here. The reveal had shocked him. The danger was real, but so was the chance to save her. The audience would be on the edge of their seats, waiting for what would happen next. The suspense had reached its peak, and the next move could decide their lives. One wrong action, and it would be over. One smart move, and freedom was possible. Jack's mind raced faster than ever. The tiny, alien girl's trembling hand in his own gave him courage, but the restaurant still felt like a cage. The chef's eyes burned into him. Every second counted. He whispered softly, "We have to get out now." The girl's eyes widened. Nodding immediately, Jack scanned the room, trying to memorize the positions of the waiters, the diners, and the cameras. Every detail mattered. A wrong move could alert the chef and ruin their plan. Jack noticed a cluster of floating trays moving. Toward another table, he gestured subtly to the girl, pointing toward the service door in the corner. She understood instantly. Her glow pulsed softly, almost like a signal. Jack felt a shiver. He realized her power could be the key to their escape, but it had limits. He could not risk using it too early or too late. Timing had to be perfect. He looked back at the chef, who was leaning over the tray, enjoying the tension. Jack took a deep breath. I am ready to try your special," he said slowly, his voice calm but firm. The chef's smile widened. "Finally, a human with courage," he said, the corners of his mouth twisting. Jack felt bile rise again, but he did not let fear control him. Instead, he focused on the plan, his mind racing through every possibility. Jack's eyes flicked to the diners. Some of them seemed entertained, others were curious. He knew that once he moved, the room would react immediately. He needed a distraction, something sudden, something loud. He spotted a small device on one table that seemed to emit light when pressed. Maybe it could create a brief chaos. He nodded to the girl. She understood. Her glow started to pulse stronger, almost like a heartbeat in sync with the plan. Jack took a deep breath. "Now," he whispered, and the girl released a sudden burst of light, bright and blinding. The waiters covering their eyes instantly. Some diners screamed, some ducked under the tables. The chef's eyes flared in surprise. He had not expected the girl's power to be this strong. Jack grabbed her small hand, feeling her tiny fingers squeeze his tightly, and they dashed toward the service door. The restaurant erupted into chaos. Floating trays fell. Devices beeped. Frantically, aliens shouted in confusion. The chef shouted orders, but his voice was lost in the panic. Jack felt adrenaline pumping through his veins. He pulled the girl along, her glow lighting the path. He saw the service door ahead, but two waiters blocked it, their translucent bodies glimmering as they advanced. Jack's stomach twisted. He had only seconds to act. The girl's glow flared brighter, and suddenly, a wave of energy shot from her body, pushing the waiters back violently. Jack stumbled, keeping his balance. The path cleared for a moment. He sprinted toward the door, pulling the girl with him. The energy seemed to disorient the aliens around, giving them a small but precious window. He felt his heart in his throat, every step forward a fight against panic, every second counting. As they neared the door, Jack noticed a group of diners trying to block their way, some laughing, some shouting warnings. He grabbed a chair from a nearby table and swung it just enough to create space. The girl ducked behind him, trusting him completely. Jack felt a surge of responsibility and determination. He could not fail. He would not fail. The restaurant's atmosphere felt suffocating, but the door was close. He could almost feel freedom. The chef's voice boomed, "Stop them! They are mine!" But Jack ignored it, focusing on the girl and the door. Just a few steps more and they could escape. The girl's glow started to fade slightly, showing her exhaustion. Jack whispered words of encouragement. "Almost there. Hold on, just a little more?" She nodded weakly, her small hand gripping his tightly. The audience watching this moment would feel every heartbeat, every breath, every second of tension. They reached the door, but it was locked with a strange alien mechanism. Jack's mind raced. He had to figure it out instantly. The chef's shadow fell over them, his hands reaching for the girl. Jack acted. On instinct, hitting the lock with a nearby metal rod, the mechanism clicked, and the door swung open just enough for them to slip through. Jack pulled the girl inside, feeling a wave of relief. But the danger was not over. The corridor beyond was dark, narrow, and unfamiliar. They ran quickly, the sound of the restaurant's chaos fading behind them. But Jack knew the chef and his waiters would not give up easily. The girl's glow dimmed, showing her fatigue. Jack whispered softly, "You are safe for now. Just keep running." She nodded, leaning slightly on him, trusting him completely. The corridor twisted and turned, shadows flickering along the walls. Jack felt the tension, the suspense, every moment a test of courage. Finally, they reached a side exit, opening to a quiet alley filled with mist and dim lights. Jack took a deep breath, looking around to make sure no one followed. The girl's glow faded completely now, leaving her tiny form trembling in his arms. Jack realized they were still not safe, but at least they were out of the restaurant. For the first time in minutes, he allowed himself a small sigh of relief. The danger was still real, but so was their chance to survive. Jack knew this was only the beginning. The strange restaurant, the chef, the aliens, all of it was far from over. But he had the girl. She had him. And together they might just make it through the nightmare alive. The suspense still lingered, leaving the audience craving for the next part, wondering how Jack and the girl would survive the next challenge, and what other secrets the galaxy held. Jack and the tiny alien girl crouched behind a pile of crates in the misty alley, their breaths short and rapid. Every sound echoed strangely in the narrow space. Jack's heart still pounded from the chaos in the restaurant, but he knew this was only the beginning. The city outside the restaurant seemed quiet, almost too quiet. A deceptive calm. He glanced down at the girl, her small hands still trembling. "We're not safe yet," he whispered. She nodded silently, her huge eyes wide with fear and trust. Jack scanned the misty street ahead, shadows moving strangely. Along the walls he could feel a presence, something hiding in the dark, watching them, waiting. His instincts screamed danger. The girl clung to his arm, her glow faint but pulsing weakly. Jack realized her energy could sense danger too. He focused, trying to detect any movement, any hint of an ambush. Suddenly a shadow detached itself from the wall, moving silently, smooth, almost like it was floating. Jack's stomach twisted, his mind raced. The figure was tall, covered in dark armor, its eyes glowing faintly red. It carried a weapon, unlike anything Jack had seen before. He could sense the lethal skill behind every movement. This was not a normal patrol alien from the restaurant. This was something else. Something trained to hunt. Jack whispered, "Get down," pulling the girl behind a stack of crates, their hearts beating. Together, anticipation and fear mixing. The hunter moved slowly, deliberately scanning the alley, its glowing eyes piercing the mist. Jack realized they were being watched, studied. Every small mistake could cost their lives. He felt the girl's hand squeeze his, a small pulse of energy running through him. He nodded silently. She understood his plan without words. They had to be careful, silent and fast. Escape was possible, but only if they acted perfectly. Jack noticed a fire escape ladder a few meters ahead, partially hidden in shadows. It could lead them to the rooftops, a temporary safety. he whispered. To the girl. We'll climb. Then we'll move across the roofs. She nodded, her glow pulsing a tiny bit stronger, a sign of courage. Jack waited for the hunter to pass their location, timing everything with precision, every second a test of nerves. The hunter paused, sensing something, tilting its head slowly, its red eyes scanning left and right. Jack held his breath, frozen in place. The girl's tiny form trembled slightly against him. He whispered softly, "Stay calm, we can do this." She nodded again, whispering, "I trust you." Jack felt a surge of protectiveness, determination fueling his every move. The tension was unbearable, the suspense gripping like chains. Finally, the hunter moved forward slowly, heading down the alley the opposite way. Jack signaled to the girl, "Now." They sprinted across the remaining distance, jumping over small debris, their feet barely making a sound. They reached the ladder. Jack helped the girl climb first, her small hands gripping the metal tightly. He followed, climbing quickly but silently. The hunter paused for a moment, then continued, unaware they had escaped the alley. Jack and the girl reached the rooftop, the city stretching around them, dark and dangerous. Rooftops connected like a maze, perfect for escape. Jack looked around, trying to find the next path, but the hunter could follow. Its speed and skill unmatched, he whispered. "We keep moving, no stops." The girl nodded, her glow faint, giving her some comfort but not enough to remove fear. Jack realized that every step now mattered. One mistake, and they would be caught. They moved quickly across the rooftops, the mist making it harder to see but providing cover too. Jack noticed strange antennas and devices on some buildings monitoring the city, maybe connected to the restaurant, or worse, he had to stay hidden. The girl's glow pulsed slightly with every jump, giving him hope. Giving her hope. They moved silently, hearts racing. Every shadow could be an enemy, every whisper of wind a warning. Suddenly, a loud noise behind them, a metallic clang. Jack froze. The girl gasped softly, their eyes darting behind. The hunter had found their scent, moving swiftly, leaping across rooftops with inhuman speed. Jack's mind worked rapidly. He had to find a safe place. He noticed a partially collapsed building ahead. Inside could be cover, maybe even weapons. They dashed toward it, the hunter closing in, its red eyes fixed on them. Jack and the girl dove inside the building just as the hunter landed on the roof above, its feet thudding heavily, debris falling. Around, the air filled with tension. Jack pressed the girl against a broken wall, whispering, "Stay low, don't move." The hunter scanned the entrance, its glowing eyes piercing the darkness. Jack could feel his pulse in his ears, the suspense reaching its peak. The audience would be holding their breath with every second. For now, they were hidden. But Jack knew this was not the end. The hunter would not give up easily, and they still had no real weapons, only courage, wits, and the girl's strange energy. He whispered softly, "We survived this, but the next fight will be harder." The girl nodded silently, understanding, trusting him completely. Jack realized that this was only the beginning of a larger, deadlier game, and they had to be ready for everything the galaxy could throw at them. Jack and the tiny alien girl crouched behind a pile of rubble inside the collapsed building, their breath shaky, the hunter's heavy footsteps still echoing on the rooftops outside. Jack's mind raced, every option running through his head. The girl's small hand gripped his arm tightly, her glow weak but pulsing. "We can't stay here long," Jack whispered. "We need help, fast." She nodded silently, trusting him completely, her tiny presence giving him courage. Jack scanned the ruined building, looking for anything useful. Pipes, broken metal, old machinery, anything they could use to defend themselves or create a trap. The building was dark, filled with shadows that moved with the flickering light from cracks in the ceiling. He could feel the hunter outside, waiting, its red eyes scanning, its patience as sharp as a blade. Jack knew they had to act quickly before it found another way inside. Suddenly, a soft whisper echoed from the far corner of the room. "Who's there?" Jack froze. The girl ducked lower, her tiny body trembling. Jack slowly stepped toward the voice, holding his hands up in a gesture of peace. "It's just us," he said cautiously. "We need help." The shadow moved closer, and a figure stepped into the dim light, revealing a tall, thin alien cloaked in ragged clothing, its eyes glowing soft blue, clearly not part of the restaurant or the hunters group. The alien raised a hand. "You are being hunted," it said softly. "I have been watching. I can help you." Jack's heart skipped. Hope flickered. "Why should we trust you?" he asked, keeping his voice low. The girl's glow pulsed nervously. "Because I hate them too," the alien whispered. "The chef, the hunters, they took everything from me once. I know how to fight back." Jack studied the figure. Something about its calm confidence made him believe it, yet caution remained. The alien introduced itself as Lyra, a rogue from the same galaxy, once a chef's assistant in another dangerous restaurant. She had escaped after witnessing countless atrocities. Her knowledge of traps, stealth, and alien combat made her a powerful ally. Jack felt a glimmer of hope. "We need to stop the hunter," he said, "and get out of this city alive." Lyra nodded, her glowing eyes scanning the room. "I know a safe route, but it will be dangerous," she warned, the suspense hanging thick. Every second could be their last. Jack looked down at the girl, her tiny hand resting in his. "Can you do it?" he whispered. She nodded, her glow pulsing slightly stronger, showing renewed courage. Together, the three formed a plan. Jack would lead. The girl would use her energy to create distractions, and Lyra would guide them through the rooftops and hidden tunnels. The odds were slim, but at least now they had a chance. They moved carefully through a narrow gap in the wall, the hunter's shadow still visible outside, its red eyes scanning relentlessly. Jack held the girl close, feeling her trembling body. He whispered, "Almost there. Stay calm." She nodded, trusting him completely. Lyra led the way, pointing out weak spots in the rooftops, places to jump, and shadows to hide in. Jack realized how valuable this ally was. Every step calculated, every move critical. Suddenly, a loud crash echoed from behind. Jack's heart jumped. The hunter had noticed movement. Lyra whispered, "Run! Follow me." And they dashed across the rooftops, leaping from building to building, the city mist swirling around them, the hunter's speed unmatched. But the combined effort of Jack, the girl, and Lyra created unpredictable movements, making it difficult for the hunter to keep track. The suspense tightened. Audience would feel the fear and excitement with every leap. Jack reached a narrow rooftop and held the girl. "Jump!" She jumped, landing safely on the next building. Lyra followed. Jack leapt last, barely holding onto the edge. The hunter's roar echoed below. Jack pulled himself up, heart pounding. They were close to escaping the immediate danger, but Jack knew the hunter would not give up. Its relentless pursuit was far from over. They finally reached a hidden alley. Lyra led them through tunnels only locals knew, dark, damp, and twisting. The girl's glow dimmed, showing exhaustion. Jack whispered, softly, "You're safe. For now." She nodded, leaning against him, catching her breath. Lyra smiled faintly. "We have more ground to cover, but you made it past the first wave." Jack realized the city was like a maze, full of dangers. But with Lyra's help, they could navigate it, survive, and maybe find a way to fight back. For the first time since entering the city, Jack felt a glimmer of hope. The hunter was still out there, the chef's influence still powerful. But now, they had an ally, someone who understood the dangers, someone who could help them strike back. The girl's energy pulsed faintly as if acknowledging the new friend. Jack whispered, "We keep moving. We survive together." Lyra nodded. "And we fight back." The suspense lingered, leaving the audience eager to see how the next part would unfold, and what new dangers awaited them in the shadowy city. Jack, the tiny alien girl, and Lyra moved cautiously through the dark tunnels, the air thick with dust and mystery. Every step echoed strangely, bouncing off the walls, making them feel watched. Jack's instincts screamed danger. His hand never left the girl's, her small body trembling but trusting him completely. "Stay close," he whispered. "One wrong move and we're done." She nodded silently, her glow faint but pulsing nervously. Lyra led the way, her soft blue glow cutting through the shadows. The tunnels twisted like a labyrinth, some paths ending abruptly, some leading to strange chambers filled with old machinery, broken furniture, and alien devices. Jack realized they were not alone. He could feel a presence, something lurking, waiting for them to make a mistake. "I know a shortcut," Lyra whispered, "but it's dangerous. It may be a trap." Jack's heart tightened. Danger and suspense electrified the air. "We have no choice," he said. "We have to try." The girl nodded, gripping his arm tightly, her trust giving him courage. They reached a wide chamber, the ceiling high and the floor littered with jagged debris. In the center, a strange platform hummed with energy, wires and glowing tubes crisscrossing the area. Jack could sense it was not ordinary. Lyra's eyes narrowed. "This is where they test new traps," she said softly. "The chef, he loves games, deadly games." Jack swallowed hard, the suspense thick, every word weighing heavily. He scanned the room, looking for any clues, any exit points, any chance to survive. Suddenly the platform lit up, panels sliding into place, glowing lines forming across the floor. Jack stepped back instinctively. The girl clung to him, her glow flickering with fear. "It's a pressure-sensitive trap," Lyra whispered. "One wrong step and it triggers." Jack's mind raced, thinking of ways to cross safely. Every second counted. The humming grew louder, vibrating through their bones, the tension unbearable. Jack studied the lines, noticing small gaps where they could step, he whispered. "Follow me exactly. Don't step on the glowing lines." The girl nodded, her tiny feet stepping carefully on his heels. Lyra moved with calculated precision, using her knowledge of traps to guide them. Jack's heart pounded, every movement deliberate, every step measured. The trap could activate with a single mistake. The suspense gripped like chains around their chest. Halfway across the chamber, a sudden click echoed. The floor beneath the girl shifted slightly. She gasped. Jack caught her immediately, her tiny hands gripping his arm tightly. "It's okay. Keep moving," he whispered, adrenaline surging. The hunter's presence felt closer, though they hadn't seen it yet. Jack realized that even surviving the trap didn't mean safety. The hunter could strike at any moment. They reached the center of the platform, but a loud mechanical noise erupted, panels shifting violently, energy lines crackling dangerously. Jack grabbed the girl, Lyra leaping next to them. "We need to trigger the escape mechanism," she shouted, pointing to a small console on the wall. Jack ran toward it, dodging moving spikes and shifting floors, the girl's glow pulsing brightly. Giving him courage, he reached the console and slammed a hand on the buttons. Sparks flying, alarms blaring, the floor trembled, a section of the platform lifting, creating a bridge to a side tunnel. Jack grabbed the girl, Lyra following closely. They ran across the moving platform, narrowly avoiding falling into a pit of sharp spikes. The trap roared behind them, alive, dangerous, unforgiving. Jack's chest heaved with every breath. The girl whispered, "We made it." Her small voice trembling, relief mixing with lingering fear. As they reached the safety of the side tunnel, Jack glanced back. The trap still active, humming with deadly energy. He realized the chef had designed it to kill intruders and test fear, but somehow, against all odds, they survived. The hunter's presence loomed nearby, though unseen, and Jack knew the danger was far from over. Lyra panted, "Few escaped this. You were lucky." Jack nodded, looking at the girl, whose glow pulsed weakly but steadily, showing resilience and hope. Jack's mind worked fast. They needed a plan. The hunter would not give up. The chef would send more traps, more hunters, every corner of the city now a potential death zone. But for the first time, Jack felt a spark of confidence. They had survived one of the deadliest challenges. They had an ally in Lyra, and the girl's strange energy could turn the tide. "We keep moving," he whispered. "We survive, and we fight back." The girl nodded silently, trusting him completely, the suspense lingering, promising that the final showdown was near. Jack, the tiny alien girl, and Lyra emerged from the dark tunnels into the open streets of the city, the night air thick with mist and the distant hum of the alien metropolis. Jack's heart pounded. Every shadow seemed alive, every sound a warning. The hunter was still out there, relentless, patient, and deadly. The girl clung to his arm, her glow faint but steady, showing courage born from trust. "This is it," Jack whispered. "We face them, now." Ahead, the infamous restaurant loomed, larger than ever under the neon lights, its windows glowing ominously. The place that had trapped, hunted, and tested them. Jack's mind raced with plans, the hunter, the chef, their deadly games. They all awaited inside. Lyra's glowing eyes scanned the building. "They won't expect us here," she whispered, "but we must move carefully. One mistake and it's over." Jack nodded, the girl's tiny hands gripping his, and together they stepped forward, tension electrifying every moment. Inside, the chef awaited, a towering figure with sharp eyes. The hunter crouched nearby, muscles tense, ready to strike. Jack could feel the predator's focus, calculating, anticipating every move. The chef's laugh echoed through the room, low and menacing. "You think you can escape, after everything? Foolish human." Jack swallowed, his pulse racing, but the girl's soft glow gave him strength. Lyra moved silently, positioning herself strategically, every step calculated, suspense building like a tightrope about to snap. Jack took a deep breath. "We end this tonight," he whispered to Lyra and the girl, then stepped into the center of the room, catching the chef's attention. The hunter immediately lunged, but Jack ducked, rolling to the side, grabbing a heavy metal rod from the floor, swinging it with all his strength, striking the hunter, causing it to stagger. The girl released a small pulse of energy, dazzling the hunter momentarily, giving Jack time to regain his stance. The chef hissed, fury flashing in his eyes. "Pathetic," he shouted, summoning strange devices from the walls, robotic arms and sharp blades moving with deadly precision. Jack felt the heat of the trap mechanisms, knowing a single misstep could end everything. Lyra leapt forward, using her knowledge of the traps to disable some of the devices, sparks flying, alarms blaring, the suspense unbearable, every second a test of skill and courage. The tiny girl's glow surged unexpectedly, brighter and stronger than ever, energy flowing from her body in a wave. Jack realized she could amplify it, using it to disrupt the chef's machines. He whispered, "Now, focus your power." She nodded, concentrating, beams of light shooting out, disabling the robotic arms. The chef screamed in anger, unable to react quickly. Jack used the moment to rush forward, his rod striking a control panel, sparks and smoke filling the room, chaos erupting everywhere. The hunter recovered, lunging again, but Jack was ready, dodging and swinging. Lyra coordinated with him, guiding movements, the tiny girl's pulses of energy stunning the hunter repeatedly. Each blow precise, each dodge calculated. The three moved as one, teamwork forged under fire, the suspense hitting its peak, audience on edge with every near miss, every sound of metal clashing. Finally, Jack faced the chef, rod in hand, his heart steady. "This ends now," he shouted, pushing forward. The chef tried to summon another trap, but the girl's energy pulsed, disrupting the machinery. Lyra leapt, striking a critical panel, disabling the last devices. The chef staggered, fury and disbelief flashing in. His eyes, Jack pressed the advantage, swinging with precision, striking the chef's control console, sparks flying, smoke and fire filling the room. The hunter roared, charging once more, but the girl's glow flared like a small sun, repelling it back, energy crackling around her. Jack grabbed her, running towards the exit. Lyra close behind. The chef collapsed, powerless, the restaurant shaking, alarms wailing, chaos everywhere. Jack realized they had survived the deadliest moment, their courage, trust, and teamwork overcoming the impossible. Outside, the night air was cool, fresh, and alive with freedom. Jack looked down at the tiny girl, her glow soft but steady, showing relief and triumph. Lyra smiled faintly, exhausted, but proud. "We made it, against all odds." Jack nodded, taking a deep breath, knowing the danger was gone. For now, the city behind them still dangerous, but the hunter defeated, the chef powerless, the tiny girl safe. Jack whispered softly, "You're safe. Now." She leaned against him, her tiny hand gripping his, trusting him completely. The bond between them stronger than ever. They had faced death, traps, and predators, but together they survived. Stronger, braver, unstoppable. The suspense resolved. The story ending with victory, hope, and humanity's courage shining through.